guys, my name is Jesse Nelson out here at Action Target booth at SHOT Show 2019. I'm here excited to talk about the Genesis, our new target retriever that we're debuting at the show. If you walk in here, I'm going to show you a little bit about the Genesis. The first thing you're going to notice is the beautiful design, right? So it looks like nothing out there. So Action Target has put a lot of effort into not only designing the way it looks, but also putting a lot of smart technology and a lot of smart design into the Genesis retriever. The first thing you're going to notice is these accent lights that go through the whole housing. Not only can ranges customize that to the color that they want, but they're also smart lighting. So what that allows ranges to do is when somebody actually shoots your carrier, which I'll talk about here in a minute, those lights will strobe red. When somebody needs assistance, which I'll show you here in a minute as well, those lights will strobe blue. So RSOs standing on a busy range on a Friday night become immensely more effective, being able to see strobing red lights for when people are shooting their equipment, strobing blue lights for when people need assistance, okay? So now if you kind of step into the booth, I'm going to show you how the system works a little bit and talk a little bit more about it. One of our design criteria as we were building the Genesis was making a system that was lower maintenance for ranges and reduced a lot of the maintenance and wear and tear. So one thing you're going to notice is a void of a downrigger. So normally on a system that has a 360-degree turning clamp, like this guy right here, you normally have a big metal downrigger that sits right here. Well, that's one element that gets shot in a range, whether on purpose, on accident, and anything that gets shot in a range eventually wears out and costs ranges money, okay? So what we've done is we completely removed that downrigger. We pushed that clamp up into the housing. So right here, if you come in here, I'll show you. With one hand, you can remove a backer, snap it back into place, and you're ready to go. So this is a component the range would swap out, once a month or however often it takes, however long it takes for that to get worn out. And then on the bottom is a very economical backer, right? So you can replace those however often you need, right? But the thing that does, it makes it so there's no metal to be shot right here. Also, there's 3/8-inch AR 500 armor plate on the front, and the sides are 11 gauge stamped steel, right? So this thing is very robust, and you're not gonna have to worry about the wear and tear and maintenance of other systems. The other really cool thing about this system is what we call strike watch, okay? So once again, for ranges where there's malicious shooters or inexperienced shooters, what this does is it auto polices itself, and it knows when it gets shot. So I'm gonna actually demonstrate that for you. If you come up here, first off, you'll notice I'm being welcomed by my name. I'm gonna agree to the range rules. Now let's say I start shooting. I'm gonna demonstrate this with a mallet instead of actually shooting this with a real gun. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna smack this front armor plate, and you'll notice these accent lights start strobing, okay? So what that does is for an RSO in a range, they visually see who is shooting their equipment, which is huge because now you can step in and help inexperienced shooters, before they get charged for shooting equipment and have a bad experience, right? So it really helps everybody out in the range. Now, if you look at here on the screen, the shooter, if this is downrange, this actually goes to edge, so the shooter can no longer shoot the target, and they get a notice that they just shot the carrier. They have to physically acknowledge that they shot the carrier, and then it allows them to use it again, okay? Now, if I hit it again, same warning comes on. Now, if I hit it a third time, what it's going to do is the carrier would actually come back home. My lane time has now been revoked, and I would have to go back out to the range staff, and they have the opportunity to either revoke my lane time or reinstate my lane time. And why this is so huge is now it opens up the opportunity for ranges to really talk about training, stop inexperienced shooters, stop malicious shooters, and really protect their investment. All right, so now if a shooter has shot the lane multiple times and their lane session has been revoked, here on the master control screen, which would be located on the front desk, the range staff sees that lane 2 has had their lane time revoked. And you touch right here, it allows them now to reinstate the lane time or revoke the lane time. So if it's just an inexperienced shooter, they can now step in, help that inexperienced shooter learn how to shoot better. If it's somebody who's done this multiple times, as a repeat offender, they just hit revoke and it cancels their session, right? So for this demonstration, we're just going to reinstate the lane time. And you can see right here, the lane time is back on. So one of the other things that I personally love about the Genesis is all the programs that we've built into it. So on the interface, it's very intuitive. You'll see a quick start, that's just out and back operation. Programs right here Along the left-hand side, you'll see a whole host of programs. These programs are dynamically pushed to the lane from the master control, so the range staff can decide what programs a shooter has access to. So if a law enforcement agency is coming into a range, they can have their own unique programs pushed out to their lane. If a shooting club, all those different things, a range can even lock it down to just out and back operation if the first time shooter's coming in, okay? But along the left-hand side, you'll see these different folders. What I'm going to go into is target games. So now, a lot of these programs are based around skill sets. So there's basic, intermediate, advanced, and pro level. This allows any shooter to come in off the street, they can pick up a gun, and they can start on their skill level, right? It's going to give them a clear set of instructions of what they're going to be doing, how many rounds they're going to be placing on the target, and a beginner shooter, their grouping is going to be open, right? And then they keep working on that till it gets in, then they can move up to intermediate, grouping opens up again, then they work on it, then they can move up to advanced and then pro, right? There's a whole lot of programs we built into this. We've worked with trainers and firearms instructors. Target games is a really fun group that we just recently added. So Action Target came out with a whole series of games. For instance, Alien Invasion, it's a bunch of little aliens, and it'll go out to 6 different distances, and as that target comes in, it comes in at different speeds depending on your skill level, and you have to actually place a shot on all the different aliens as it's coming in, kind of some retro games, right? So that's one of them. We also have a dynamic course of fire. You can come in here and see all the different targets that the course is calling for, and get a sense of all the different steps that you have, right? Once you're ready, just go ahead and hit start. The program will count down from 5 seconds so the shooter can get ready, make sure that his gear is all set up. Once it starts, the camera comes on. There's an integrated camera in the system, so you can see real time the target downrange. That's beneficial for programs, but also for ranges where, for a shooter who just wants to send a target down to 25 yards and just shoot at it, he no longer has to bring the target back to see where he's shooting, right? So it's a huge improvement to the system. For this case, I'm just going to hit quit, bring this target back home. But yes, there's a lot of different programs. Along the bottom here, you also have the capability of manipulating the lighting. So you turn lighting on, you can turn the lighting off. You can also even turn on police strobes, right? So for real-world training scenarios, you can make this a very dynamic training tool. Okay. This is a smart range access. So Genesis is controlled by smart range access, and what this allows you to do is it gives you a whole lane management solution. So if you come in here and look with one view, you can see where which lanes are available, which lanes are occupied, and how long those lanes are occupied for. So for instance, I can see that lane 3 has 42 minutes left on it, right? So if somebody comes into a range and wants to know when the next lane becomes available, with one view, it's very easy to understand when the next lane's available. You can also come in here. I'm going to just end this session so I can demonstrate this to you, but you can see this lane's available. This system also allows you to enter the customer's name, select a user group that pushes unique permissions to that lane, and select the amount of time that range has. Once that timer runs out, the shooter's warned that his session's about to end, the session expires, and it becomes available on the system again. In addition, the range also has full range control, retriever control. So if you're wanting to run a program or a training scenario across multiple lanes in sync, this gives you that capability. So you can run a course of 10 or 15 different lanes all running the same program in sync, which is very cool. You also have the ability to create programs, very dynamic programs going to different distances, exposing for however long you want. You can integrate charging drills, a whole very dynamic capabilities for the system. In addition, you can control all your lighting. So in here, you can turn all your police strobes on across all your lanes. You can also turn your accent lights on and off that go across all your lanes. Very dynamic, very fun system, very easy to use. We spent a lot of time making sure that any range owner can easily use all the features of the system.